to a certain point. How we do it is the introduction of standards. If we don't have any rules about dressing, then people dress anyhow, and we are not even able to identify any particular culture that cuts across. Okay, but when we introduce standards, when we introduce compliance, when we do enforcement, when we audit, this helps to lift a society from 1 year over a period of about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You will see a natural progression forward. Okay, and that is how we should all be involved. Certain industries come to mind when we are talking about this area of activity. Some, I believe, are more important than others. I'm happy that, again, that Dr. Kanashbe is here, because the telecom is a very important industry where you talk about cybersecurity. The banks, or let me rather use financial institutions. We have insurance companies. We have microfinance companies, and generally the service industry also, where we deal with people in various ways. Things are becoming a lot more digitalized in these areas, and we need to make sure that these industries are coming along and going by the standards. Another area I believe should be addressed is the board and executive levels of important industries. Some, I may say, institutions that are critical to the state, like electricity, like water, like civil aviation, the air, those that control our airways, hospitals, and a few others. These are areas where cybersecurity should be taken very seriously from the top level, from the board, and that should be cascaded downwards to every single member in such institutions. Okay? Another area of importance is education, where it should be pervasive. The Cybersecurity Month is a very good introduction, and I believe it shouldn't end only at the end of October. It should continue. It should be all the time. It should continue after October. Public education should be sustained. I believe also that the education on cybersecurity should be introduced at a much lower level in our educational institutions, right from the primary level. And you would see in different jurisdictions, in different economies, that children from a certain level react differently to information. Whilst in our environment, if you ask a child, where is your house? Where does your father work? The child will not ask you, why are you looking for that information? But they'll just give it to you, and probably also add where their mother is working. Okay. But this is because they are not groomed with that culture from the start. And this is mainly in the education space. I would really like us to approach cybersecurity from an offensive position, rather than thinking about how we are going to, someone is stealing from my bank account and all. That is being done. But we want to take it forward and let it become part of us, a culture, okay? And not only children growing up, but there are many parents who are much older now and have very little understanding of cybersecurity. Why shouldn't you give your child a smartphone? You should, because many things are happening now that they can use a smartphone to work on. But if you give your child a smartphone, you should be able to put in place the necessary security or safeguards so that you don't get scared what the child will use the smartphone for, or you can effectively monitor. And then the child can also have the benefit of plugging into an economy that is becoming increasingly digitalized. Okay, so rather than deprive or hold back, let us adopt a proactive stance and position. Introduce a lot more of digitalization, introduce a lot more of modernization, and know how, understand it by ourselves, and know how to manage these things as they come. In closing, what I would say is there is still a serious shortage of cybersecurity professionals. In ISACA, we continue to train and educate. ISACA is a global institution. We have some of the best certification programs, which we continue to run and make available to people in Ghana, professionals from every walk of life. It is not only restricted to people in IT, but everybody seeking to know a lot more and learn a lot more. Okay, and we are working very much in collaboration with the Cybersecurity Authority. Okay, so we will continue to support this drive. We will be very much a part of the Cybersecurity Month, and we will continue to work with the Cybersecurity Authority, other agencies that are in this, the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Communication, and all other agencies that are involved in this drive. Thank you very much.
Please subscribe to Maurice TVGH.